Sorry guys, I think the last video cut me off. Anyway, so going back to a rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. So that means they form 90 degrees and they would cut each other in half. Okay, square. So all sides are congruent. We have 4 right angles. So say all angles are right. Congruent, perpendicular bisectors. And opposite sides are parallel. Okay, finally, we have a trapezoid. So we have exactly one pair of parallel lines. This would be the opposite sides. So with the square, 4 right angles, that's the same as a rectangle. We have all sides congruent. If you drew your bisectors, diagonals, they'd form the congruent perpendicular bisectors. And finally, opposite sides are parallel. So what you should notice is some of these different attributes are repeating on each shape. Okay, and with the trapezoid, we have these two sets of lines, these two opposite sides that are parallel. So here's how the graphic organizer works. Notice how it says always up, sometimes down, and then never side to side. So let's say that we start here with a rhombus. We would say a rhombus is always a parallelogram because you're going up. A rhombus is always a quadrilateral because you're going up from rhombus to get to parallelogram and quad. Let's say we start with parallelogram. A parallelogram could sometimes be a rectangle, but it could also sometimes just be a parallelogram or a rhombus that's going down. A parallelogram is sometimes a square because you're going down. A trapezoid is never a parallelogram because they're side to side. Is a rhombus a square? So if we look, rhombus, to get to square, you have to go down, so that'd be sometimes. Is a square a parallelogram? To get from square to parallelogram, you go up, so that would be always. Is a rectangle a square? You're going down from rectangle to square, so that would be sometimes. So a rectangle would be a square if you had all sides that were congruent. Is a parallelogram a trapezoid? Never. This last question here is kind of tricky. Is a rhombus a rectangle? Even though they are side by side, and that would typically be never, the answer here will be sometimes. If the rhombus is a square, then it could be a rectangle.